I noticed that when Bashuwasi was given this report, she touched her face. And that is just about the only time I've ever seen her touch her face like that. And I've watched many, many, many of her reports. In fact, I believe I've watched every single report she made on TV from around November 7th, 2022, until she stopped appearing regularly on 31st of March, 2023. So about a year and a half, I watched every single time she came on TV. And she started coming on, like around 4 a.m. my time. And her last report was at around 1 a.m. her time. So I never saw her touch her face like this except in this one report. And at the time she mentioned snow NATO here, she touched her face and she was saying she'd really like to see a snow NATO in person. A snow NATO is a whirling around in the air of snow in the shape of a vortex or mini tornado. And it's a very beautiful thing to witness. She showed one on camera that had been photographed, I guess, by someone in Eastern Europe. And she said she'd really like to see one in person and touched her face. Now, I had read somewhere many years before when I was interested in body language. I even had a book on body language. That touching the face at certain moments is significant or can be. And I was thinking that since she never touched her face this way, this was a significant gesture on her part. And I looked online to see what the general meaning of touching the face at significant moments might mean. And I read that touching the face at the moment of a declaration of the kind she makes in this report, that she'd really like to personally see one of these snow NATOs. Well, this caused her some anxiety. And touching the face, as I read, can be a soothing, calming thing to do because there are a lot of nerve endings in the face. And she felt anxiety from making this admission about herself and tried to soothe herself on camera by touching her face this way. So, why did she feel the anxiety to the point of touching her face in this unusual way? Since, as I say, I watched her reports for a year and a half, every single day, Monday through Friday, all day long, every hour, about 10 minutes after the hour, for like 6 appearances a day. I watched all those reports, and this is the only time I can recall her ever touching her face. Well, my view of this is, off the top of my head, that she has experienced some conflicts at her place of work in not getting satisfactory responses to desires she has, like the one she puts into words here. She says she's really like to see one of these snow NATOs in person. Well, in one feature story of hers at the Ashkagaga Flower Park, she said on camera that that park was a very romantic place. Okay? As if she would like to be romantic with someone there. And I'd have to assume that that romance never did materialize for her. So her expression here that she'd really like to see a snow-nado, that is an intimate part of her that she hasn't quite revealed to others, that this meteorology that she has her career in, it means quite a lot to her. It's not just a career, it's almost like a calling for her, the way science is for many people. And for her to reveal that she'd really like to see a snow-nado when she's already said something like she'd like to have the kind of romance that a place like the Ashkagaga Flower Park suggested might happen for her and never did happen. Well, for that reason, she needed to touch her face at a moment like this. That's my interpretation of how that happened. The romance may not have happened for her, and in the same way, seeing one of these snow-nados, that might not happen for her either. And so there's her anxiety that it might not happen.